Thank you very much. Let me stand on existing protocol. I thank the organizers for inviting me and particularly data analytics partners to Algon. Algon as the organizer and the Ministry of Innovation. They've been on this journey for a while. I'm speaking on the issue of turning local governments, the poles of poverty to poles of prosperity, through the two issues that we are discussing here today, that's sustainable energy and rural industrialization. I begin by giving an example of probably the most remarkable structural transformation of the 21st century, China. And you see some of the partner here we have is a Chinese company that's doing remarkable stuff. China showed the world the unassailable method of poverty reduction. By its achievement, it contributed nearly 70% of the global extreme poverty reduction between 1981 and 2017. China lifted 800 million people out of poverty since 1978. And it announced the eradication of extreme poverty actually in 2021. How did this happen? The country focused on industrializing its rural areas. It fostered low-skill, labor-intensive, light industries enterprises that provided massive local employment for farm workers that were made redundant with the increase in agricultural productivity, enabling them to keep their earnings in the rural villages. China started with low technology sector, like all nations before it, including Europe 250 years ago. In fact, between 1988 and 1998, China became the world's largest producer and exporter of textiles, the largest producer of importer of cotton, and the largest producer and exporter of fish.
So can I take your permission?
Yeah, they're just wondering.
Please kindly note where you.
Actually, I'm wasting my time.
Attention, please. Please, this announcement is going out to all our brothers and sisters over there. Please kindly come for this particular program, please. This particular session is very critical to why we are here. Please, kindly come and get seated, please. Please, kindly come and get seated, please. Please. Please, kindly come and get seated. Let the ushers also help us to direct them, please. We're not coercing anybody, but please, kindly come and get seated. Please, kindly come and get seated, please. Those at the back, please. There will be time for this networking, please. Kindly come and get seated, please. Please. Kindly come and get seated, please. Prof. May I also inform all of us that lunch will be served after this particular session, please. Lunch will be served, and you are asked not to go away. Please, kindly make your way to these gatherings, please. Kindly move in to the left and to the right so that we can form a good number here, please. The chairs are skeletal, please. Kindly come to the center, please, and form a good block, please. Those standing, please, kindly join us and let us have peace and silence, please. The prof is giving us a very important lecture, please. And you might also want to ask questions from what is going on. You'll be free to do that, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You succeeded to aggravate the MC and aggravate myself. I left my home in Abidjan 4 a.m. yesterday. I didn't get to Abuja until 10:30 p.m. So I took this very serious, and I'm going right back after this meeting. So for us to be here and not listen to what we are doing is actually a disservice to all of us. Anyway, I was at the point where I'm talking about how is it that China lifted 800 million people out of poverty. It gets talked about a lot in all international meetings, but we know how it happened, and our partners are also here. That country, one of the major things it did was to focus on the industrialization of its rural areas, which is what concerned the local government. And when I was actually asked to speak, I decided to focus on this particular area. And what they did was actually to ensure that these hopeless, so-called, very poor, marginalized, people who suffer a lot of inequality in our local societies, get trained, they were imbued with skills, so that they do not rely on people begging. They themselves became the market, and they themselves become the consumers. And light industries were developed. Just actually, China copied what Europe did 250 years ago. And it's very evident that we are not following that path, and this is why we remain poor. The China, like I said earlier, became the world's largest producer and exporter of textiles, the largest producer and importer of cotton, the largest producer and exporter of furniture and toys. Why am I mentioning those? Those are the low-tech areas where that country started from. Today, China can build anything because they learned over these 40 years. They began to learn to master the technologies that were important. The rural enterprises achieved what I call hyper-growth. Their workers, the workers within the rural China, reached 30% of China's entire labor force. Village industry grew at 28%, doubling every 3 years. It was astronomical. 66-fold increase between 1978 and 2000. Between 1988 to 1999, textile and clothing were the major sources of China's foreign exchange. Today, China is building satellites, it's building weapons, it's building anything. But they started from there, and it was the rural communities of China that were transformed into the builders, producers, consumers of those goods. They became the major source of China's foreign exchange, had about 24,000 enterprises employing 8 million workers in the 1990s. Textile and clothing was 20% of China's total export. Why am I mentioning CTG, cotton, textile, garment? Because that is where every country, every nation started from. The Industrial Revolution was all around textile garment. It moved to continental Europe, it was all about textile garment. You moved to Japan, to Korea, to Taiwan. All of them started there. The low-tech, if you look at the spectrum of technologies about high-tech, middle-tech, low-tech, all of them started there. And we need to take this serious. Because in Nigeria, when we make a plan, the plan became an end in itself. We launch the plan, we take photo, everybody goes home. But we have people. Our people don't have jobs. And if we take this seriously, what data analytics, CCQ, all these people are offering us, we're going to change this country. You will be the transformers of this country, Algon. You will change this country. The textile and ready-made garment in Nigeria, it tells exactly the opposite story of Chinese rapid industrialization. Once a very vibrant and dynamic sector in Nigeria, the sector exported to countries in all of Africa. You remember Aswane, you remember Guzau, Kaduna Textile. They were everywhere, over 1 million people that were being employed in those days. It achieved annual growth rate of 70%. We constitute 25% of manufacturing sector GDP and labor force between 1960 and the late 80s. There were around 115 factories across CTG, cotton, textile, garment, value chain in Nigeria at that time. The Nigerian textile manufacturing capacity was valued at 420 billion then. Just calculate it. They had an investment worth over 3 billion in 1999. By 2007, Nigeria had only 26 companies left. And I've been talking to the chairman of the Cotton Association of Nigeria now, Mr. Anibe, because last week they actually now finally established the cotton board. Hopefully something will change there. And the near demise of the industry in Nigeria coincided actually with the rise of China's production. It was actually, if you map it, if you draw a graph, you see exactly one going up, the other just coming down. The rise of Asian, not just China, of course, it was Bangladesh, Taiwan, all of them did the same thing. The RMG in China in 2020 export was 266 billion. 266 billion. It's about 7 times the crude oil we exported that year, just one sector. 266 billion. So, and what happened at that time? We dropped the ball. When the structural adjustment came, we were too careless. We just dropped the ball. We opened our borders rather than form partnership with companies that will come and produce here and actually enforce our local production. We dropped the ball. They produce, we purchase, we consume. They got richer, we got poorer. We just need to retrace ourselves from being consumer nation to production nation. We must revitalize the manufacturing sector. We must invest in bringing back the CTG to lead our rural and urban rural industrial revitalization. The cotton textile board, like I said, was approved last year, last week by NEC. So I think Argon, you need to follow up and actually encourage the person who is driving it, and so that there are 34 states that produce cotton in this country. Unlike what people think, they think it only grows in the south. No, there are 34. Almost all there's a plant now in Benin Republic that's employing over 24,000 people. I'm sure some people here have gone to see it. What one of our companies is trying to build in Ogun State now will about 4 times that company. So I encourage Argon to actually work with all these partners so that we get all of these things established in our local governments all across the country. The local community is a vital arm of governance. Our goal must be nothing less than turn our local communities to poles of prosperity. These are ecosystems without roads and without power. And I always say, where road ends, poverty prevails. Where energy and power is absent, insecurity and darkness, illiteracy, insecurity prevail. Today is not an ordinary event, even though some people may not realize it. Today is not an ordinary event. With Argon, this will hang on your shoulders. Let us use today to end poverty and bring light into poles of darkness. The decision we are taking here about ending the trinity of tyranny, I call them trinity of tyranny, poverty, illiteracy, and disease. I call them trinity of tyranny. The solution is to set up these manufacturing structures with power supplied all over our local government areas. And that's why you find that the most striking feature of all industrial society is their capacity to mass produce not only consumer goods, but also all the means of production, tractors, whatever it is that they do, intermediate goods, energy, transport infrastructure. To do all of this requires power supply. And this is the advantage we have here. We are working with partners who are not saying, go and bring $200 million. They are saying, let's do this together across so that we can all have a sustainable energy system. And AFDB, we are right behind them. I can promise you that. If you want to go, we will be behind them. And we will be behind Argon also. So rural transformation for me is the key to changing the ecosystem of this country. Because there you don't have small-scale industry, you don't have medium, because there's no demand. It's why the poor have no savings. They don't have savings because they can't invest also. Agrarian areas like rural, like most of our local, they are very isolated. Contacts are very little. Before you can move your goods from one place to the other, cost is prohibitive. This is what we want to stop with the special agro-industrial processing zone that we are establishing. As some of you may have read, finally, after almost 6 years, we groundbreak the one in Kaduna and Calabar last week with Dr. Additional and the Vice President. We are going to do 2 more in the next 1 month. And we are going to our board with 12 more special agro zones in May. Nigeria is the only country where you are going to have about 20 all at the same time. This is the only country. In other countries, yes, it's worth celebrating. In other, we have 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 everywhere. So let's take advantage of it. And actually, that's why I came. I came because their vision coincides with our vision. That in order for us to industrialize, we must change the local government. So that people will not be rushing to Lagos, to Enugu, to Abuja. They will stay there because they can make their lives there. And those areas will become the lights of this country. What we are using is the idea of clustering. We build like a special economic zone. You bring companies there. You have power. You have health services. You have everything you need to bring life to the place. So, and also remove the constraints to credit, reduce cost of investment, and also bring technology to those areas. And it helps entrepreneurs who are looking for opportunities to find a space to be there. It's a template we have provided to lift the rural poor out of their poverty. By the way, we actually raised $2.2 billion for these 12 new zones. And don't be afraid. We are not going to give somebody some ministry to go and just spend the money. We are going to build it. It's going to be direct disbursement to those who are serious, who want to build it. Because people always ask me, Prof, but these ones, what will happen now if these people get hold of the money? I say, AFDB is not a Mickey Mouse organization, It's the only triple-rated bank in Africa. They do things in a very systematic way. So we'll make sure it works. So the 5 things, finally, 2 minutes, we have developed this peri-urban urbanization structural transformation strategy. I'll give you the paper for the chair and everybody. We also proposed that we should have an endogenous rural social protection system in all of those, because they pay for themselves. And all we need is to really organize ourselves to do it so that the poor can also begin to accumulate some investment. Then, of course, agricultural productivity. The bank has been working with Nigeria to raise productivity, provide machinery, fertilizer, irrigation. You also saw what Additional did when he was here as minister. We reached 25 million farmers with no intermediary. He reached them directly. Those of you who are used to the agri-sector, But the moment he left, they destroyed everything. And then we promote value-added activities across those places so that we can get investment. Then, of course, invest in rural infrastructure like we are doing today, as everybody has been saying. My message to you today is that let's take this serious. Don't let it end as a declaration and photo opportunities. We are here, we want to do it. The partners are here, they want to do it. And the chair and everybody, you should not let them go without executing the promise. Thank you and God bless.
That was a very wonderful one. KISS. He kept it simple and straight. And that was from Professor Banji Oyeleran Oyeyinka, who just presented turning poles of poverty to poles of prosperity through sustainable energy and rural industrialization. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, what is very important about this particular topic is that the local government chairmen are all here seated. And now that the issue of autonomy has come and much is being expected, these are some of the takeaways that can be escalated across the state. So it is expected that this kind of very important projects will also be held at any particular time that finances are available, and that particular idea will be an idea that its time has come. Please put your hands once again for Professor Banji for that beautiful presentation. Don't forget that lunch will be served as soon as we finish this particular segment. Just before then, we would like to invite the moderator of this particular session, the person of Tenia Tableway, to please make his way to this podium, to please come and preside over the proceedings. While we're expecting her, we would like to call on the panelists who this seat has been provided for. They are the African Development Bank, SSAP, and Industrialization. The same prof who has just made his way down here to please, a round of applause as he's come for the second time, Professor Banji Oyeyinka. We also like to call on the Managing Director, GANCH, Chijoke Uzoho. Please, a round of applause if he's here present. Chijoke Uzoho. We also like to call on the Managing Director, Data Analytics and Solutions Limited, Mr. Brian Amonu. Please, a round of applause. Not also forgetting the CEO CKK Power Limited, Mr. Liu Shongzanjeng, Brian Liu. A round of applause. We also want to call on the Managing Director and Chairman Chief Executive, Asipta Global Resources Limited, Mrs. Latifa Asipta Isa, to also complete the circle. Please, a round of applause as she makes her way to the stage. While I hand over the microphone most respectfully to the moderator, Tanya Tableway. Tanya Tableway. Okay, she'll be moderating at that end. Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the panelists are already seated. May I, for want of time, quickly hand over to Tanya Tableway to please preside over the proceedings. Please, once again, a round of applause as they are all called and they are already seated. Thank you and thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, permit me to stand on all existing protocols. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Tanya Tableway. I'm very honored to be the moderator for this panel session, and I want to welcome you all to the preliminary panel session. Please, a round of applause. So just to kick us off on the topic of discussion of the panel session, I'd like to give a little bit of context. With over 80 million Nigerians still lack access to reliable electricity, with the vast majority residing in the rural areas, this energy poverty has held back progress in education, healthcare, businesses, agro-production, and general quality of life in our communities. Sustainable electricity, particularly decentralized renewable energy solutions, promises development and growth in our rural communities. Our distinguished panelists are here to guide us through how we can set the stage for sustainable energy access and grassroots development. So permit me, without no particular order, to introduce our distinguished panelists. I'd like to start from the far left, introducing Professor Banji Oyelaron Oyeyinka. Professor Oyeyinka is currently the Senior Advisor on Industrialization to the President of the African Development Bank, AFDB, where he is coordinating the establishment of agro-industrial processing zones and industrial policy in several African countries. It's an honor to have you here, Prof. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Brian Amonu. Brian is the founder of Data Analytics and Solutions International Limited, and also the initiator of the Sustainable Energy Access Project, SAPE, a comprehensive initiative dedicated to providing large-scale, affordable, and sustainable energy solutions that addresses critical needs in cooking, transportation, and electricity supply. Thank you, Brian, for being here. Great. Next, I would like to introduce Ms. Tari Mayo Bright. She is the head of market operations from the Gas Aggregator Company of Nigeria, which has been very significant in advancing domestic gas commercialization in the country. Thank you for being here, Terry. Next on the list, I would like to introduce Brian Liu. Brian is with CCK, and he leads the, pardon me, sorry. Brian is with CCK Electric Power Technology Limited, a Chinese company which has expanded its operations into Nigeria, driving the deployment of captive power solutions, delivering gas generators, transmission and distribution infrastructure to local governments across Nigeria, with over 60 megawatts already in operation. Welcome, Brian. Thank you very much. And to introduce the last but not the least, I think we have Madam Latifa. She needs no introduction. She's part of the organizers. Please, let's put a round of applause for our distinguished panelists. So I'm going to, in no particular order, I'm going to start asking the questions. We'll have 2 rounds of questions for our panelists. And permit me, Prof, to start with you. With the AFDB, we would like to ask what specific economic policies can best drive sustainable development at the grassroots level?
No, thank you very much. As I spelled out in my short address here, for us, number one is that every economic policy that will work has to be people-centered. Human beings have to be at the center of that. In the particular case that we are discussing here today, we believe that the rural, and we need to separate the rural and urban. Today, they both experience really serious poverty. Of course, it's far more pronounced in the rural areas. Sometimes you can't even make a distinction between them. So what we've done is that the special agro-industrial processing zones, we are locating them within what we call the peri-urban areas. That is, not at the port in Lagos or Enugu or Port Harcourt. As you find, most special economic zones are located within convenient areas where you import the intermediaries and then you process and ship out. We deliberately are locating these SAPZs, as we call them, special agro-industrial processing zones in peri-urban areas. That is between the large cities and the rural areas, so that you are using policy, economic policy, to deliberately structure the economy so that you touch the lives of those who most need it. 70% of our poorer people are in those rural areas. So what we are doing is that we are building this production structure. Will be roads, will be power, will be irrigation system, across those things we call the agri transformation centers. We build warehouses, pre-processing facilities. Wherever you find any of those, you find these facilities. Then we build a factory system around that area also. So as I speak to you today, we have approved 8 states: Kano, Kaduna, FCT, Kwara, Oyo, Ogun, Cross River, and Imo. They are all at the point of disbursement, taking a lot of several years. They have been structuring it because of a particular Nigerian problem. We want to make sure it is private sector driven, and everybody had to be carried along and all of that. So, but we are very happy to report that we are there now. I didn't want to speak to theory. I want to tell you exactly what we have done, And in May of this year, next month, we are going to the board to approve another 10 to 12 new states in Nigeria. Many of you might have seen on the television where some Northeast senators were protesting about being neglected. We didn't do this on purpose. So we want to make sure that almost all 30 states in Nigeria has processing zones. And for context, Vietnam, and I always joke with Brian about Vietnam. Vietnam is a 70 million population country. They have 600 industrial zones. 600. So whatever we are doing is nothing. So some people are telling me, Prophet, that's too many. I said, no, you are joking. Go out, look, open your eyes. We are building 20, hopefully before the end of this year, and we'll have more. The advantage of zones is that you localize production so that electricity, all of those, you are able to put them within concentrated spaces. This is the method Chinese have used, Vietnamese have used, Thailand have used. It's a solution in plain sight. So our economic policy tends toward this industrial model of making sure that rather than struggling to lay pipes and cables all across this extremely vast country, you build those spaces, put power, put water, put all of this. And that's why I came. Honestly, it wasn't very convenient for me. I suffered a lot yesterday with this travels and stuff, But I wanted to show support for this initiative. That this is the way we should do it. And hearing that local government, Algon is involved. I want to say it again to you. Please support this. Make sure you have this 5 megawatts, 10 megawatts in all local government. In the next 5 years, you'll be telling a different story. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Very insightful. I'm going to come to you, Brian Amonu. And just of the offshoot of what Prof has said, AFDB building the policies and setting the right environment and projects for private investment participation. Just on the offshoot of what SEEP, the Sustainable Energy Access Program, is doing, how can local governments here leverage energy access projects such like your program, SEEP, for rural industrialization?
Thank you, Lady T. So the idea behind the Sustainable Energy Access Project is to deliver large-scale energy solutions for many reasons. The number one reason is economies of scale allows us to achieve least cost planning, because energy is a product. To deliver the product that the targeted demographic can afford, one of the ways for us to achieve that is economies of scale. And if you also take into account that we're tackling a big problem in this country, there's no local government area that has sufficient power. There's no local government area that has universal access to clean cooking, right? So the idea behind SEEP is to deliver large-scale energy solutions for transportation, for cooking, and for electricity, knowing fully well that we have a lot of investors that are looking at coming into Nigeria. For example, you hear us, Prof and I, always make reference to the Chinese. They are the biggest investors in the world now. A lot of them want to invest in agriculture. A lot of them want to set up manufacturing plants. A lot of them want to go into agro-processing. So for us, by partnering with CCK, a well-known Chinese energy firm, so we are telling the Chinese investors, European investors, whoever is interested in investing in Nigeria, particularly the local government areas, that there will be an assurance of power. If you decide to invest in processing cassava, let us know how much power you need. Let us know the LGA where that is required. If you decide to invest in beneficiation of lithium, let us know how much power you need. Let us know the local government area where you are. And seated to my left here is Tari from the Gas Aggregation Company of Nigeria. It's not an accident that she's seated here, because the cheapest gas we can deliver, the cheapest power, energy we can deliver today is from gas. So the entire value chain has to be accounted for, because a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So once we identify the demands for power in the local government areas, we will go back to GACN to say this is how much power we think we need today. This is how much power we think we need in 4 or 5 years. But GACN is playing a very, very critical role. As wonderful as renewable energy, solar solutions sound, the best opportunity for us to truly industrialize lies in harnessing our significant natural gas resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. And now we're going to move to Ms. Tari. So your company, the Grass Aggregator Company of Nigeria, is very significant in advancing domestic gas commercialization, localizing the infrastructure and the business models. So I would like to ask you, what are the biggest barriers to implementing such sustainable solutions in the local government areas?
Okay, so thank you, moderator, thank you, panelists, and good afternoon, everyone. So I think Brian has done the preambles for me, but there's something, I would like to start this conversation this way. I think God has actually given us all we need. Because if you look within our resources, we're sitting down on 200 trillion TCF of gas, and is yet to be harnessed. And so there are a lot of issues, and the biggest barrier I would try to state here is awareness. We have a lot of local governments that have a footprint of power in it, powered by gas, but still don't even understand that they have that resources within them and don't even know how to harness it. And for me, that is the benefit of such such a stakeholder conference like this, where we start bringing partners to integrate to ensure that the value chain is unlocked. So one of the biggest issues, like I would say, is awareness. A lot of people don't understand the power of what they have. If we even want to come from the angle of energy mix, if it sits within the northern region, you have sun. So you can use renewable energy, like has been spoken of here, to power the energy. It's so critical for us to know that energy is the lifeline for the economy. There is nothing we're going to do without energy. So trying to harness what is closest to you. If it's sun, then you have to rely on renewable energies. If it's gas, and I can tell you the gas we have in the country, I mean, there was a publication from NUPRC that what we have right now and what we can access right now can take care of us for 90 years. And talk about, we have not even started harnessing what we have. We've not really looked at the full potentials. We have the infrastructure issues, and yes, the infrastructure is tied to the market. The DJFD just talked about having clusters. Until those markets are developed, you would not have would-be investors come in to set up shop. And who is the market? Every one local government here is a significant market. We've had conversations with Brian. They're going to the 774 local government, but we need to see the market. We need to see people come to have industries built in those local governments. Everything that has been done right now is done in one local government or the other. Whether it's the Dangote fertilizer plant, whether it's the refinery, whether it's the Indorama, whatever it is done in the local government. So the local government must first of all start seeing themselves as the market. It's until they see themselves as the market, that is when the market starts developing, that you start attracting the right kind of investors. I'm sure the Chinese people are here because they've seen a sizable market. Even if it's still in the infant stage, the whole plan is to have every one of us build that market to an enviable height. So those are the major challenges, and also there are limited financing options. And I would not want to speak too much on that because we have solutions from the AFDB and all that development banks. So those are like the major infrastructure, major challenges and barriers we face.
Thank you very much, Terry. Thank you. And I'm just going to bring it down to Brian. I think from what Prof has said down to every other panelist that has spoken, one thing is very clear: there needs to be private sector participation in the development of the rural communities. And Brian, your company is already operating about 60 megawatts of large-scale energy plants in these communities. I want to ask you, how can we balance this large-scale energy projects with the unique needs of the rural communities where they are being located?
Talking about this question, large-scale energy projects and also unique need of rural households, you should be balanced because energy in the local government, LGA is energy and the power is the key for the industrialization of the development of LGA. But if you but the unique need for the village household, sometimes the need for take power or electricity, for example. Sometimes a single family, the need of power is small. So sometimes it's hard to balance it. Then how to solve the problem? In our experience in China, we also face the same problems. So what we did in China is to set up a small factory or sometimes centralize the industrial park. In this way, even though the project or the power plants is big, but we can still, together with the distribution network, we can still supply the need of household. That's one way to solve the problem. Another way to solve the problem and balance the large-scale energy projects and the small need, unique need of the households is that we should combine with other projects of SIP project. Because SIP project, one aspect of SIP project is to set up power plants to provide electricity. And, but also there are some other projects like cooking gas, the cylinder projects, cooking gas cylinder projects, and EKK projects. So for those other projects, what is the purpose of other projects? In my opinion, the cooking gas project is to reduce the cost of people's living. So in this way, it will increase the income, a family's income. And in this way, people can have more money and can get buy more food and can get a better living. And also the EKK project is also the same, because for now the energy to support EKK, support the KK is high. So we are by SIP project we are now launching EKK projects, and to reduce. I think the purpose is to reduce the cost of people's living. So together, by increasing the income and reduce the cost, SIP project can support the household to increase its living life. So in this way, the unique need of a small household can be balanced, and together with setting up of big, large-scale industrial projects, and a SIP project, it will be very suitable for the development of LGAs. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. And I'm just going to go to the last question we have, and that's for you, Latifa. You've heard about the SAPS program from the AFDB, you heard about the Sustainable Energy Assets Program, and you've also heard from private investors that are investing in these local government areas. So we want to ask you, how do we ensure that the projects, all these project investments that are coming into the local government communities also supports gender inclusion and youth empowerment?
Okay, thank you very much. So we can ensure inclusion by incorporating the people in the projects. Like what we're working at is a plantation, an agroforestry project that seeks to empower women and youth at the grassroots level. So we are taking 1,000 hectares of land in each local government to grow an energy crop, which is jatropha. So we're integrating jatropha and cassava for industrial starch production. So the women at the LGA level will be the ones, will be the first beneficiaries of this project, because we have about 60% of the beneficiaries as women who will be working on these plantations. They will be given 3 hectares each to grow jatropha on 1 hectare, cassava on 1 hectare, and also other crops that they wish to grow, they will use 1 hectare to grow it. It's a farm estate where they also have their accommodation provided for them. So youths can also come in into the plantation to work. So the beneficiaries are 60% women. We have 30% youths. Men are not excluded. So then we have 10% for people living with disabilities, because the plantation is easy to operate and manage, so it makes affordability easy for them. They're working there, they're earning their livelihood there. They're also, there's going to be primary health care facilities situated in those farming estates. So it is going to be a controlled system where food production is taking place. We have industrialization also, because there will be processing facilities for cassava and the production of biodiesel as well as biogas that will then be taken back to the women and also other people, commercialize biogas for cooking, which gives an affordable and a cheaper, cleaner energy for all. All of this will be done at the local government level, and the chairman will be the leaders of this committee, high-powered committee that will be set up to ensure sustainability at the grassroots level, because they have to be involved. It is a process that has been set up for them to be the primary beneficiaries as the executive chairman of each local government. They own these resources. They own the lands. They own the people. They have the security architecture. They also have all of these resources at their disposal. So what we are doing is basically just to drive it while carrying them along in the entire process. So they are the biggest beneficiaries of this project. So the support of all the local government chairmen present here and those that are part of the project is highly needed for us to be able to achieve success and sustainability in this project, which is also focused on mitigating the adverse effects of climate change, because the trees will be planted, will be sequestering carbon, and then the biofuels that will be produced will help to reduce emission in both diesel engines and fossil engines. So we'll be earning carbon credits for the women at the rural communities, because they will be the ones to work on the plantation. So they have a percentage of the carbon credits that will be accrued to the project to them. The LGA chairman also have like a percentage as well. And then there's a percentage set up for community development, which will go into training of youths and all other developmental needs of the community. So women and youths are at the heart of the Sustainable Energy Access Project.
Thank you very much, Latifa. Thank you. A round of applause for the distinguished panel. I was also informed, we've heard from development partners, the private sector. We are also going to get a very quick response from the representative of the local government association. So I want to call on Professor Sharif Gali Ibrahim for a quick discussion of this panel session.
Thank you, the moderator. We've had a kind of a wonderful conversation here, especially as it relates to sustainable energy development at the grassroots level. As we've heard from the panelists, especially Professor Banji, who made a wonderful presentation, when he said that any issue of sustainable energy development at the grassroots level has to be people-centered, because public policy is actually people-centered. And if I should borrow from President Xi Jinping, who says that the people first, whatever we do in the process of governance at the central level, provincial level, or local government level, it has to be people-driven, and it has to be centered on the people. And this is actually what drives development in advanced societies. And if this is actually replicated in Nigeria's grassroots level, definitely we're going to have a major shift in our developmental process as it relates to sustainability. He also discussed about pre-processing facilities using spatial industrial zones in order to attract investment, to attract innovation, as well as facilitate more co-option of the local people into benefiting from these particular innovations as well as investment. Brian also made a submission where he made mention of economies of scale. And this is all encompassing, which will actually introduce a mega introduction as well as bringing people closer to sustainability. Because when we talk about sustainability, we are talking about a collective stewardship in terms of avoiding or avoidance of extinction of our resources in the society by upgrading such resources and in making sure that the future generation comes to actually benefit from the existing resources which we are utilizing. Tari, in her submission, also discussed about harnessing our resources by creating awareness, because the utilization of resources also need awareness creation, especially at the local level. She also made mention of a kind of an argument or assertion that energy is the lifeline of the economy, which I very much agree with her, because without energy, life will become so moribund and decadent in the local area. But with energy, life will be reintroduced and life will be sustained at the local level. My brother Liu, women fechan ganshe, ni gender fechan how. In his submission, he made mention of energy and power, which should be balanced between the rural and urban centers. And that is what we call development. When you try to bridge up the gap between rural areas and urban centers in terms of developmental processes, facilities, that is what we call development. You have to create jobs. You have to reduce inequalities. You also have to fight poverty. And Professor Banji earlier made mention of what China has done, the miracle China has actually performed. That actually reminds me of the recent decade. China brought more than 800 million people out of poverty, unprecedented. And China has been able to contribute the highest level of getting people out of poverty in the entire world. And this is something that Africa and Nigeria, we should actually emulate. And this apart, our beautiful one, Latifa, she also made mention of rural plantation, especially by galvanizing women, to produce especially starch by planting this particular crops such as cassava and the rest of them, where women at the rural level could be empowered and be included into the journey of sustainability and development. And why is it so important and significant for energy and power to be, driven in terms of developmental processes of Nigeria as well as in our rural areas? You cannot imagine that California generates twice power than the entire sub-Saharan Africa. You cannot also imagine that Texas generates more than twice of electricity than the entire sub-Saharan Africa. And what are we saying, sub-Saharan Africa? We're talking of the African countries of the Sahara. You exclude Libya, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt. When you exclude these particular countries, the entire countries within the sub-Sahara, more than half of this population live in darkness. More than 640 million Africans live in darkness, have no access to electricity. This is a major challenge in the 21st century, and this is really, significant moment which such a topic is being actually brought to the fore for conversation on how to solve this particular problem. I could remember in 2019, I was invited to Morocco for such a summit to discuss on how to connect Africa with all these particular power poles in order to empower Africa with electricity. Because without electricity, no businesses. Without electricity, life is also being threatened. Without electricity, education, industry will actually experience difficulty. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cherry. We were not going to leave the audience behind. I've been told we can do a quick Q&A before we go to the keynote speech. So we would like to take questions from the audience, about 3 questions. So if you have a question, please raise your hand.
Just before the question, distinguished guests, we'd like to invite to the podium to come for a keynote speech. That is Dr. Tokwe Kolade Fashwa. Dr. Tokwe Kolade Fashwa is a special advisor to the President on Economic Affairs. President is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Please, a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to, well, as we say here, stand on existing protocol. Good afternoon, panelists as well. Ordinarily, the keynote should have come before a lot of the discussions, but due to many engagements today, we're having to do this a bit late. Thank you very much. So I'll make it very quick so that we're not bored. And perhaps it will enrich the discussions that have been had today, including the very great points that have been dropped on this panel today. I'll basically just look at the points. I'll just look at the points. So I was asked to do a paper on this very topic and the theme of today, driving sustainable development through local government, or rather through the Nigeria Sustainable Grassroots Development Conference, which is going on today. So, that's fine, that's okay, through local governments. It gives me great pleasure to deliver this keynote today at this year's pioneering conference on National Sustainable Grassroots Development Conference being organized under the auspices of Algon today. The idea behind this conference is simply sterling, as we must begin to capacitate our local governments and channel their visions towards sustainable development, which is the ultimate aspiration of forward-thinking governments all over the world. The paper is themed Sustainable Economic Solutions for Grassroots Development and focuses on the core economic aspects of today's event. We shall be discussing critical aspects of sustainability and its fusion with economics, the role of local resources in the achievement of economic growth and development, and the critical need to manage local resources in sustainable fashion. We shall also be looking at the role of technology and innovation in view of their centrality to the achievement of these lofty goals. To round up, we shall consider some options available to the financing of sustainable development, the role of governments and partnership, community-based solutions, as well as approaches to monitoring and measuring success. Essentially, sustainable development, when you say you want to do sustainable development, anyway, in the field of economics, either you are thinking about economic growth or we're thinking about economic development, which is deeper than economic growth, in which case you begin to consider how the economic growth is filtering to the people and the impact it's having on the people. But even better than that is when you consider sustainable economic development, meaning that essentially you're not thinking about the present only, you're also thinking about the future. And you're thinking about you're thinking about children yet unborn and what have you. So, essentially, I mean, according to Wendell Berry and also attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson, he says, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow the earth from our children. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. That's the concept behind sustainability. We have to think in terms of the future. It's all about inclusivity. It's all about the environment. It's all about sustainability and so on. So essentially, there are three core areas of sustainable development, which is environment, economy, and social. And those explain themselves. You think in terms of whatever the local governments are going to do in terms of driving their economy and all of that, what this paper is saying is essentially that you have to think in terms of your environment, essentially your physical environment this time around. We may not have a lot of these problems here, but we also do have. But if you went to a place like Ghana, they have a huge problem with people coming in to do artisanal mining and also despoiling the environment. Of course, economy is part of sustainable development, meaning that you have to think about the people. Whatever development you are going to try and attain, you must think in terms of reducing poverty, eradicating poverty indeed. Also, you think about bridging the income gap. In the last few years, we've seen a scenario where the rich get a lot richer and the poor get a lot poorer. And that's not good enough. And of course, social in terms of the health, education, and the quality of life. Okay, so, I mean, there are different kind of examples. When people want to do sustainability, when you talk about new ideas like micro-farming, residential farming, the First Lady of Nigeria did promote that last year. It's all part of, reducing food poverty and ensuring, it's reputed to be good for the environment because people don't use a lot of chemicals in that kind of farming and so on. So you get some better kind of crops from residential farming. Things like solar power, Nigerians have embraced solar power, even the State House is going to be covered. But it's not only the State House or presidential villa. I'm just seeing the news now, 100 billion naira has been allocated for solar power for universities in Nigeria. And also waste recycling, that's very important as well. We don't do too much of that, but it's become big business in Nigeria as well, especially plastic waste. But then we need to drive it down to the local areas in terms of where people live, understanding that is where recycling and sustainability starts, and so on and so forth. So the role of local government, the local resources, I've been asked to speak about the role of local resources. Essentially, first of all, the local government responsibility includes maintaining infrastructure and development and regulation, and also providing municipal service, also public health management, protecting the local environment and upholding the citizens' right. Also, you can add to that the local government help in inculcating in people positive citizenship, such as self-control, self-consideration, community responsibility, and all that. Also, local governments can help in providing basic community services, which will both improve the quality of people's lives, and also they can help people, especially in the rural areas, to organize themselves for the mobilization and effective management of community resources and central government programs, respectively. So what are local resources? Of course, we know what local resources are. Just to look at it from a much more an helicopter point of view. Things like agriculture, food production, wildlife, domestic animals. These are things that you would only find in local areas. Natural swamps, forests, even deserts, another ecosystem. I was looking at a picture just this morning of the Moroccan, somewhere in Morocco, and the dunes of Morocco, the sand dunes. But most people don't know that if you went to Yobe or some parts of Borno in Nigeria, you'd also find those sand dunes that if you think you are in Dubai or somewhere, or Saudi, that is also a resource. I remember a day in 2019, I flew from that Maiduguri after having gone to Yobe I flew to Abuja and then to Calabar, and I was going into the swampy area with very dense vegetation. And you understand how diverse Nigeria is. Water resources are also local. Indeed, the point being that everybody in Nigeria lives in a local government. So that tells you the centrality and how important the local governments are in Nigeria. Tourism and culture, mineral resources, human capital. Like I said, mineral resources are also very local to us. So these resources play important roles in environmental, economic, and social sustainability, e.g. to eradicate food poverty. The local governments are the ones that we rely on. Revenue generation for local governments by organizing all of these resources, sustenance of human and environmental diversity, providing local alternatives in medicine, providing human capital for Nigeria and the world. So if you look at providing local alternatives to medicine, just take that one. During the COVID time, it was, people said, oh, Nigerians are going to die in the droves, and we'll be dying on the street, and we won't even have space to bury our dead. That's what they said. But some of us defeated them and said, you know what? Nigerians also have alternative medicine. And a lot of Nigerians, that's all they know. At final count, the truth being that at final count, they couldn't find 6,000 people who died of COVID in Nigeria. That's the thing. Why, they were recording 5 million, 10 million elsewhere. So, I also put something here about rare earth elements. Whereas local governments, and I've had people speak about different mineral resources, mining resources today, but there's something called rare earth. And this rare earth, as we speak today, is the problem of USA, is the advantage of China. China processes 90% of rare earth, in the world, produces allegedly about 25 to 30%. I think there's rare earths in Nigeria. You may not have heard about them, but some of them are called, includes scandium, yttrium, europium, promethium, tertium, ytterbium, cerium, dysprosium, galodinium, and so on. Anyway, very interesting names. But I'm saying that I think that's work for our scientists as well. If these are going to, and these rare earth metals, they go into every phone, anything that has magnet or metal in it, every phone, even the speakers that I speak to, all of these laptops, including the defense industry. So the market is going to grow to as much as $25 billion. I think that Nigeria should also consider what it has in this regard. So that's that. So they are needed for electronic technological goods. China dominates the production. US is trying to do a deal with Ukraine in order to be able to get access to some rare earth, and so on and so forth. So, of course, we know the role of technology. Technology is the world now, it's everything we do. The more you know how to get it and manipulate it and use it, the better your life is going to be, the more money you're going to also make, whether you're an individual or a company. Whether it was in communication or in improved work implementation, in standards of living improvement, in reducing rural-urban migration, also in the new area of artificial intelligence and machine learning. These are all products of technology, which the local government should also begin. See, don't think that it's too far-flung for you to get engaged in some of these things and try and understand it. For example, artificial intelligence. The truth being that you don't even have to go looking for it. It will come looking for you. That artificial intelligence is there on your phone. Every time you're typing and the thing is suggesting what next you have in mind. Before you type it, it has said, oh, is this what you mean? That is artificial intelligence. And of course, it can escalate to levels that even nobody on earth is able to tell exactly where it's going today. But the point is that it has taken on a life of its own and taken over our lives. So be bold, especially the older people. I don't believe that is what some of these teenagers do, because we need your input in the evolution of that intelligence, of that technology. Your input is needed. Your experience is needed. Don't shy away. So local governments must embrace technology, use technology for transparency and accountability, and use technology to solve many and most of the problems whose solutions have been simplified. And also deploy technology and innovation to prepare human resources for the world, and use technology and innovation to attract investment and develop local industries. How do you finance sustainable development? There's so many options. Of course, we know about climate funds. So the point is, if you have the knowledge, you go for it. There are grants, and there are some funds that have been put together in this world today that will only go in the direction of if you are trying to reduce, the effect of, all this pollution and everything on the environment. There are environmental funds, there are green bonds, there are blue bonds, and funds as well. Green will only go towards anything that is actually confirmed to be green. Blue bonds and blue funds will usually go to investments in the ocean and marine and all of that stuff. So there are grants and aids as well, which you can, explore. What are the role of government and partnership? And I'll be done in about 3 minutes. Of course, part of the role of government is to develop different funding models. For example, people talk about public-private partnerships. It helps. There's no way government alone can do this. We want our local governments to be very brave, and of course, you can leverage on the experience of the debt management office, the Ministry of Finance, whether in Abuja or in your state. They know how to go about some of these models. It will help you to release more resources to take care of your people. Also, reduce illicit financial flows, corruption and all of that. Embrace science and technology, I said that before. Collaborate with private sector funders. Assess bilateral and multilateral funding for your project. And of course, trade. One of the ways that local governments, and even any government indeed, gets money to finance is by encouraging trade in their environment, in their society, so that people can make profit, and from that profit you can be able to get something for government to continue to run. Community-based solutions. Well, creating constant awareness at the community level about sustainability. Please, you have to create awareness and continue to do that. Of course, when you hear about sustainability, just think about SDGs anyway. Sustainable Development Goals. It used to be Millennium Development Goals. After that one wound down, then we went to Sustainable Development Goals. You can form associations, you can do crowdfunding to raise money around this. You can also look at cooperatives. You can do local smart policing, not vigilantism, to maintain peace and order. These are ways of ensuring that you are able to release resources, take care of your people. You can do local monitoring of government projects. You can do community hubs for skills development, entrepreneurship, and practice. So it's back again to the SDGs. And of course, we know what the SDGs are. It's all about eradicating. Number one, SDG, of course, there are 17 of them. No poverty at all. Number two, zero hunger. That is food poverty. Number three, good health and well-being. Number four, quality education. 5, gender equality. 6, clean water. 7, affordable and clean energy. 8, decent work and economic growth. 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduced inequality. 11, and so on and so forth. Now, I think that the SDG just creates the template because very smart people have been able to think about all of these issues at the United Nations, and so you can use it as a template. Take it to the bank. So I'm suggesting that local government leaders look at that and just channel your resources and your efforts through those development goals and see how far you can go. Okay? So, in conclusion, essentially, whatever it is you do, you have to measure. We know we have a problem with data in Nigeria, but when you collect as much data as possible and also see what others can do, what other data is available elsewhere, you're able to triangulate and also move forward. So in conclusion, aspiring towards sustainable economic development beyond mere growth, which may be skewed towards a few people or sectors in the society, is a big task, but a task that must be done. We urge our local government leaders to adopt the above policies and attitude in these fast-changing times when it has been made clearer than ever before that every country must bear its own cross. And that's very important if we remember what's happening between the US and other powerful countries in the world. We must understand that our goal is a noble one and worthy of investing time, effort, and financing. We must immerse ourselves in the truism that the only worthwhile venture is to uplift the standards of living of our people within the limits of sustainability. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. There's certainly no doubt that the array of presenters and speakers here are all making their way to heaven. I'm not a pastor or a prophet, but by reason of the excellence and the excellence in what they have presented to us, because this is the way to go, especially as it affects doing the right thing and delivering the right results. So this is the kind of heaven that we should propagate, heaven that leads, that builds human capital, that shapes perception, and that helps mankind. So may we give a round of applause to this very beautiful presentation. Thank you. Before the panelists finally round off, we'd like to inform us that dinner, or rather lunch, will be served, while the guests and delegates will also have their time after now at a very place to be announced. There will be some food that will be shared by ushers for want of time, so that we'll quickly run with this particular program. We are looking at the next session, which will be commencing in the next 5 minutes. So may I respectfully return to the moderator.
Thank you very much. So we'd like to go back to the audience and take some questions from the audience, please. So if you have questions, please, can you raise your hands? And okay. Okay. Please, can we get the mic to the audience, please? Please raise your hand to indicate you have questions for the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, the moderator. My name is Dr. Umi Hassan, the CEO of iTech Center for Nigerian Women and Youth. It's actually a great honor and privilege to be given this time, and I want to respectfully appreciate all our speakers, especially the panelists. I am interested in what my big brother, Professor Yelaron, has said, and what Latifa said. Latifa had started talking about the women and the youth, which is actually a constituency I'm interested in. And it was good to hear that that plan is in this project. But when I listened to Prof and then saw the passion, which I've, of course, known all my life, growing with Prof in the tech industry, I have realized that the topic today, it's around sustainability. My brother had just finished speaking and emphasized more of that. And I'm directing this question to Latifa, actually, because I'm beginning to ask myself a question about how do women actually get involved? How do the youth actually get involved? Are we looking at just having them to be participants in farming, or what? Or we are actually looking at building a skill set? Because when you talk about sustainability, without, of course, we know that every other local government leader here is a transit position. They will be here now. In the next couple of years, another person is there. So the real deal about sustainability for me is for us to look deep into building skills. And the last speaker that just spoke just mentioned what is going on with the US and other countries. What are we looking at in this grassroots plan? I am particularly interested because my NGO in the last 20 years have been doing a lot of capacity development with young women and with the youth. And we are interested being here today to see what level of skill set are we looking at in building in this project? Thank you.
Latifa? Yes, please.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. So sustainability here means that this project is a wholly private sector driven initiative. So Chairman A comes and go, the project remains. And we are putting women and youth at the heart of the project because it is about them. This is about job creation. This is about women empowerment. So they are not just onlookers. They are not spectators in this project. This project is for them because the initiative was conceptualized having women and youth at heart. So for this, for us to be able to record sustainable development at the grassroots level, we must be able to point out to the impact of the SDGs at the local government level. So women taking the highest percentage of beneficiaries means that they are not spectators, they are players in this. So everything around the project is built upon getting impact. In the next 5 years, we want to be able to mention that we have been able to move over 20 million Nigerians above the multidimensional poverty line with the Sustainable Energy Access Project. This is our focus. And in the next 5 years, we'll be able to point out to how many megawatts electricity we have contributed to industries and the national grid. So this project is not about a particular local government chairman. It is there for life because it is a private sector driven initiative. It has a governance structure that outlives the elected public office holders. That's the executive chairman of the local government. So the project is going to be there. The chairmen are going to be also beneficiaries of the project because it helps to lift their people out of poverty, it helps to create jobs at the local government level, and it helps to catalyze the sustainable development at the grassroots level. So it's also going to bring security to the local government. So they are more of beneficiaries, the local government chairman. So this, I hope this answers your questions anyway. So we are open to more collaboration. We are open to, partnerships that will help us to achieve this vision because the vision is ours, but the purpose is bigger than us because this is about Nigerians who are talking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Latifa, for the response, and thank you, Madam Wumi, for the question. In the interest of time, we can still take one or two more questions, please. Is there any question from the audience?
Thank you. I'm an inventor, Lawrence Nzelago, President General Emeritus, Association of Nigerian Inventors. I so much appreciate Latifa, who I know so well. My little contribution to this is this has to do with security. Because one is that getting the local government and the women engaged in this is one. Actualizing the essence of this effort is another thing, and it has to deal with much on security. And there's supposed to be much advocacy and government involvement in this to make sure that this is not another fruitless effort, because having been an inventor and knows what it takes to invent, research, and come out with a product. Sometimes it's a life project. And for Latifa having come this far, and what the nation stands to gain, where we are always having challenge, which is the current norm everywhere now is commercialization. This is where government have to step up. It's a nice program. You know, I'm so happy this sort of program is holding here, and we expect results. we expect results follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. That seems like a contribution. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Emuze Godson is my name. I'm from Edo State. I want to make a particular reference to Prof. Banji. When he was speaking, he made mention that he said, when energy and power is absent, then poverty and insecurity prevail. It therefore means the problem is understood. Sir, my question is, how do we solve the problem of power and energy? Taking note of the critical stakeholders, how do we actually solve the problem? And you also mentioned that about 8 states have been selected, have been already on board in the agro-processing zones. That at the end of the exercise, about 30 states will come on board. I want to make a special appeal, sir, that Edo State should be in the next phase because we have the capacity. At the local government level, we have the manpower and the resources to actually key into this drive. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you very much. Let me answer the last question first. Actually, we've been trying to get Edo State involved. All states are voluntarily, they voluntarily enter into the program. So if you know any state that is not there now, and I think apart from 2 or 3, almost all the rest of the states are in our phase 2. A state has to write an expression of interest to both the AFDB and also the Federal Ministry of Finance. We know how rich Edo State is in natural resources, manpower, everything. So if you want to champion it, please, you can also appeal to the governor to get in touch with the Nigerian Country Office and the Ministry of, just a letter, 2 paragraphs. We hereby want to participate in the special agro-industrial zone. That's it. We are not allowed to refuse anybody. As a matter of fact, those Northeast senators that were protesting on television, we went, let me give you an example. I went to one of the states, I sent my team to one of the states I will not mention, and we already found an existing area where a lot of investment has been made, and we suggested to them, why don't you build your zone around this? And the answer we got was that, oh, they are this party, we are another party. So we try to explain to them that we don't deal with politics. We deal with people and development. So there are a number of such things, but overall we've been quite successful in the advocacy to get all states to get involved. And hopefully with the ATCs, all the local governments want to make sure benefit from this. Now, I think the first question he asked was about the power. Yeah, about the power. I don't know whether many of you remember Nat'l. You know, the more I'm a student of innovation and technological change. In fact, that was my thesis in development economics. What happened to Nat'l will eventually happen to the current power structure. And I want to predict to you that in the next 5-10 years, many people will forget about all of this discourse because of the nature of the innovations in the power sector. What we are seeing now. You mark my word, you remember today. You know, when a system refuses to yield to serve the people will find a solution. In fact, SCAP that we are seeing today is an initiative of people outside of government. And I believe that with working with people of goodwill, it's going to work. Because Nigerians have suffered too much, you know, with this kind of arrangement. You know, as at, I think 2001, we had only 500,000 people connected to telephone. Today, you know what it is today. You know, so it's going to happen. Whether we like it, the rate and the nature of technological change will make sure that individuals, corporates are able to go off the structure. And for example, with the kind of thing we have now, where states and individuals are able to set up power plants, eventually this very archaic structure will eventually disappear. So this is what I want to say. And initiative like SA, because you're asking me, how do we solve the power problem? You know, we have refused, and many of the elites are part of the problem. So much money sunk into it, they make sure it doesn't work. But solution is coming, and this solution is starting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this enlightened panel session. Please, I'd like us to give a round of applause to our distinguished panelists for sharing their expertise. And we hope this panel session leaves you inspired and determined to ensure every local government in Nigeria has access to sustainable energy solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, please, let's give them a beautiful, loud round of applause. Thank you. Thank you to all our amazing panelists. It's been an impactful and engaging session. But before we leave, we're going to take group photographs. So please kindly come together for that to be done. Meanwhile, ushers, kindly do the sharing quietly, please. All right, thank you. If we can have the official photographers kindly come forward for a group photographs of our panelists and the moderator. Thank you very much. On stage, we have the moderator herself, Tiana Talboway. Thank you so much for moderating this impactful session. And the panelists are from AFDB SSAP on Industrialization, Professor Banji Oyelaran Oyeyinka. Also is the MD GACN Chijioke Uzoho, MD Data Analytics and Solutions Limited, Mr. Brian Amonu, CEO CKK Power Limited, Mr. Liu Songjiang, Brian Liu, and MD CEO Aspita Global Resources Limited, Ms. Latifa Aspita Esa. Many thanks to you all. Okay, while lunch is being served, we're just going to go quickly into the second plenary session. Time is of the essence. Please permit me to introduce the speaker for the second plenary in person of Mr. Ogudan Arome. Mr. Ogudan Arome, who is the speaker for the second plenary session. Please, can we put our hands together? As we have on stage, Mr. Ogudan Arome, in as much as our hands are so busy, that I understand. Thank you. Thank you all. There he is. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I would not take too much time. Okay, I will not take too much time because a lot has been said so far. So I'll make this very short, very, very short. I'll skip to protocols, yeah? The Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, the National President of Algon, the National President of Algon, esteemed chairpersons, all protocols duly observed. Now, before I continue to my address, I know we're busy, but before I move to my address, I want us to see something here. Okay.
So that we know whether we can control the noise.
All right.
What do you think?
That's fine. Because it's short, so we can.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have been instructed to, for want of time, to please assemble the panelists to be at this session to quickly make their way with due respect. May I invite Alhaji Muhammad Sani Garba. Alhaji Muhammad Sani Garba. Please, a round of applause as he steps to the podium. I also invite the lead consultant, Kura consult, Mrs. Queen Onuseria. Mrs. Queen Onuseria, please, a round of applause. Not also forgetting the Managing Director, Chief Operating Officer, Pure 3 Awesomeness Nigeria Limited, Mr. Ogudan Arome. A round of applause. Also on the list is Dr. Olagunju Olowo. Dr. Olagunju Olowo, please. A round of applause as these four gentlemen make their way to the table. Not also forgetting Professor. Okay, I'll call him after.
All right, thank you. All right, before I continue, I would want us to look at this differently. Okay. We have 774 local governments represented here. We have Algon representing 774 local governments. But each time we talk about these local governments, we reduce their capacity, and that always affects our results. Let me do it this way. Balewa local government in landmass is over 5 times bigger than Singapore as a country. Borgu local government in Niger State in landmass is over 15 times bigger than Singapore. I would even do it this way. Ida local government in Kogi State, Ogorimagongo local government in Kogi State are bigger than Macau. Now, what we're doing here is an assemblage of people I would want to call economic advisors. But it shouldn't just be economic advisors, which means sitting right here is supposed to be 774 economic ambassadors. If we start tackling it that way, we will reduce virtually all the reason we are sitting here to just decision taking. What that means is, if I need cotton in Gusau, I don't need to go far. I tap my device, and I'm speaking to a farmer in Gusau. If I need to take leather from Kaura Namoda, for instance, or from Sokoto to Aba, where it is needed, I don't need to be talking with Morocco. I don't need to be talking to Italy. I don't need to be talking to China. I just have to tap my device, and I'm discussing with somebody in Gusau. But we have not tapped into that place yet, and that's what I'm here to talk about. I wrote a very long speech, but I'll summarize it. Everyone look at the local government as grassroots only for reference when it comes to politics, only when it comes to gathering the vote. Have we also started looking at ourselves as that space where economic decisions come from? So if I want to invest in Zaria, or if I want to invest in Kaura local government, how do I contact the team in Kaura local government? How do I reach out to the team in Fuga, or reach out to the team in Uzowani in Enugu State? Have we all sat down to think about that yet? So while we are here discussing the possibility of special agricultural processing zones, we also as local government should start discussing having our own creative hubs in each local government, because each local government is as big as a country. So when I look at local government chairmen right now, I'm not looking at them as local government chairmen. I'm looking at them as the holders of the opportunities I should be discussing with. They should also reach out to us saying, we have these resources. If you need maize, don't go too far. If you need wheat, don't go too far. Come to Jigawa State. Or come to Biliri local government, and we will give you what you need. But it doesn't end there. How much maize do you have? I don't know if we get that context yet. You also have to start discussing, how much maize do we have? How many farmers do we have farming this number of maize? On what expanse of land? Are we farming this output? Now, that brings us to strategic thinking. That brings us to strategic way of getting results. And until we start doing that, we might not get the results we're looking for. We should try to be what I call street smart, where every local government is looked upon with its uniqueness, solution tailored for each local government. Even though some of them would share boundary with others, and I'll give this example of Ibaji local government in Kogi State. It shares boundary with Uzowani local government of Enugu State. These two local governments are good in rice and yam. What that means is we can see a future collaboration between these two local governments. So economic development is not just about your territory. It comes to you moving to the next territory and finding solutions to your problems. And that brings us to the next thing. We need data. We need to figure out how many farmers we have in our various local governments and what they farm. We need to find out precisely what their needs are. 1, 2, 3. Is it funds? Is it land? Is it processing? Is it storage? Is it haulage? Is it package? We need to put all that together. And once you have that as a local government, then you can move forward to who solves this problem. Am I talking to NEXIM? Am I talking to African Development Bank? Am I talking to probably a microfinance bank? Because sometimes what you seem to be looking for in Sokoto was actually in your pocket. I don't want to use Sokoto, but yes. Some of these microfinance banks can go as far as developing our local economies, even before we think about the long scale, which means we have identified ourselves as big local governments. We understand that each local government has potentials. We now have to solve these problems by bringing local solutions. And that brings me to climate smart agriculture. Each time we think about farming, what 1 hectare gives you might be less than what 1 hectare gives to someone in another location. That's because of farming practices that are different. But can we make it better? Yes. Can farmers get updates on weather and records on their devices? Yes. Should the local government adopt this? I say yes. Which means each farmer should be smart. They should farm smart, know when to farm, when to harvest, what is expected from each hectare. And that's the drive for the future. Which means if we're able to identify this, we will get the results, not just faster, but even bigger. We all have identified the problem to be value chain gap, that when a farmer farms, how it gets to the final user. We understand that. A lot of the speakers have talked about that. We also have identified the climate challenges, which we have preferred solutions, which is the climate smart farming. Now is the call to action for Algon. Remember, I called all the local government chairmen economic ambassadors. Algon should be that secretariat. Algon should be that governance intelligence unit that says, you want to invest in Jathropa, go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they have the local government chairman on speed dial. The local government chairman feel we have space for wheat. You reach out to who? Algon. And we need to monitor all this progress, and that brings us to still Algon. How many people have we employed within our first 1 year? Algon. How many people are we going to employ in the next 18 months? Algon. How do we coordinate between investors and local governments and make it easier for the chairman? Algon. And that's where we're going to introduce the research and development team, both for Algon and for every local government. I saw a local government chairman from Zamfara earlier who had a very young team, and I believe this can be replicated in every local government. Finally, we have to engage our traditional institutions to get these solutions done. In trying to capture farmers recently in Kogi State, We had to go to every community to discuss with the traditional rulers. It is these traditional rulers that were able to drive the information even faster before we got to the people. And I implore us to adopt that strategy. It's with this, I would like to say, let us live here today with a pact that 1 year from now, we will showcase not just one productive, one rich local government, but 20 to 21 others, richer than what there were before attending this conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, may we again put a round of applause for the speaker. May I respectfully invite the moderator for this particular session. He is Oshilato Joseph Tade. Oshilato Joseph Tade, please kindly make your way to this podium. Thank you. Thank you. While he is getting seated, I would like to appeal to the convener of this very august program in the person of the National President of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ably represented by the Chairman, Board of Trustees of Algon, and other Algon delegations across the 774 who are here representing the 36 states and FCT. To also appeal to them that their lunch will be served at a time to be informed as soon as this panel is brought to an end. Thank you very much. Oshilato Joseph Tade, moderator, the National Business Development Service Provider, NBDSP. The ball is on your court as the microphone returns to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My guests, the panelists, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Distinguished panelists and guests and participants, you are welcome to this important discussion. This is meant to be a discussion where the real issues as they concern development at the grassroots level will be discussed, and experts' opinion and day-to-day understanding of the realities are looked into. Now, across our landscapes, the rural landscapes, smallholder farmers, they represent untapped potential, okay? They are not just producers, they are entrepreneurs, they are innovators, and indeed they are community builders. But they face enormous challenges, the challenges of climate variability. They have limited access to finance. They have weak market linkages due to challenges with transportation, infrastructure, and storage, and the like. They also have insufficient infrastructure to add value to what they produce. This is why you would often have issues with storage of produce, agri-produce. So this session aims to explore how value chain development, guided by climate-smart agriculture, can be a transformative tool, not just for boosting productivity, but for creating sustainable wealth at the grassroots level. Our focus is to move beyond subsistence farming towards building resilient, market-oriented rural economies powered by innovation, financing, and collaboration. All right, so we are honored to have you with us, distinguished members of the panel. And you are leaders, you are innovators, some of you are policymakers who will bring not only institutional understanding of the subject, but also day-to-day understanding of what obtains on the field. So I encourage all of us to listen deeply. Let us reflect critically and think collaboratively, because the journey of empowering our farmers for climate agriculture is just here for us all to take part in. So I want to start by asking to my far left, Mr. Arome. Mr. Arome, what can rural farmers, from your experience on the field, what can they do to leverage the much anticipated, industrial transformation that we all work? How can they leverage this in their production and their journey from subsistence farming to wealth creation agriculture? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think I'll do it this way. We have gently moved the goalpost from other people who are supposed to play critical role in this sector and left it with the farmers who are actually in trouble and why we are probably here to discuss intervention. But that said, the farmer's problem is always deep. From the farm gate, where, in short, from the soil, where they have to monitor, understand the soil, to what comes out and goes to the farm gate, to what goes to storage one. From the farm gate to storage, that's whether a farmer has a small storage or moves to a central storage, to what goes on from haulage, because from the farm gate, it's either hauled to where it's processed or hauled to where it's bought, to what happens at package, and what happens in the market. Now, right now, over 70% of what's being farmed is being lost due to post-harvest losses. Farmers are helpless. We just have to face it. They run to whoever it is that needs to help, and we always try to figure out the big language to dodge this. But as a farmer, they are limited to solving the problems themselves, and that comes to aggregating. As farmers, somebody made a comment earlier that if you want to go far, you go together. If you want to go fast, you go alone. And Harry Fosdick made a comment that the world is moving so fast these days that those who think it can be done are often interrupted by someone doing it. So, for farmers to solve these problems, you have to come together as a cluster. I always advise and advocate for cluster farming because what you know, I don't know, and what I know, you might not know. And when our strengths are put together, we can now reach out for expertise, limiting the costs and how much we spend to get results. So, back to your question, sir. For farmers, I always advocate cluster farming, cluster ways of solving their problems, because one might not be able to solve it, but together, they will solve a lot.
Yes. Mrs. Queen, you are a service provider and you interact with businesses. I want to ask, what are the key policy advice you think is important that the government evolves that would help us to leapfrog development at the grassroots? So if you are going to advise farmers, for example, at the grassroots, what are the things, the government rather, what are the policy direction you would advise the government to take? Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of policies, I think we've had too many. What we're looking at now is a bit of accelerated action, on those policies that we have. We've been talking a lot about policies. There's nothing new about policy. I think implementation is the issue here and has always been the issue. But for me, I would always say that agriculture is not just an economic activity. It's a livelihood. In a rural area, people depend on agriculture to survive. So we need to see it as a means of life for over 70% of people. Agriculture at the grassroots can address a lot of issues. Things like urban migration. I believe if we begin to look at processing plants, I have a manufacturing business, where I have products in stores and stuff. So if we have if we begin to build processing plants close to the farms to address post-harvest losses, it's very important. Mangoes are in season. Just go and see what's happening. Go and see what's happening to mangoes. And these things can be preserved. So we need to look at things like building, creating processing plants, also using technology to bridge that gap.
All right. Thank you. Technology will play a critical role in, what we're talking about. Alhaji Sani Garba, you are into, specifically, you are into business visa. You are the CEO of Business Visa. Am I correct? Yes, I'm correct. Alhaji. Business visa.
Very correct.
Very correct, yes. What, in your vantage position, what specific skills do you think we can, spread across the businesses in the rural communities, particularly in the rural communities, to help them make sense of emerging opportunities that are coming?
Yeah, thank you very much. Earlier on, I make a clearance on the business visa aspect. It's not a traveling visa. What we do is we aggregate. First, we identify in each local government what are the products we have, who are the farmers, how do you add value to them, and how do you package them to the market that needs distance. So basically, that's what we do, and in each local government, that's where lies the farms, the farmers, and whatever you're looking for belongs to one local government. So technically, what we do, after identifying these products, we now discover that we are in the country that we have the best of everything you think of, and we have them in different varieties. So the chairman of this local government should know that whenever you ask for any variety of a certain crop, tell me where you're coming from, and I will point out to you the variety of that. But we can roll it in the conference. Mention one thing. If you talk of, let's say, the common one, which is cassava, I know all of us know that the cassava we have in the north has less cyanide. There is a special market for it. And the ones at the other side of the country, they are more stronger. That's why you wash them very often. But then you cannot start processing something without identifying the market, or else you get yourself into trouble. That's why when you come in as a chairman, take an inventory of what you have in those local governments. Some of them, like I've said earlier on, we don't even farm them. It's a natural gift, which the world is looking for them. Even within the country, some other parts are looking for all these items. So if you don't identify them, you don't identify the season we get these things, you don't identify the varieties, then you are not ready for this job. That you should emulate what the president was saying, that he knows the job that he asked for. So you know the job that you have vetted for, so you should take an inventory and be ready when we knock at your door. You know we are off-takers, and we are not going to tell you to process these things and we leave you with it. We are off-taking it.
Thank you
very much.
so much. I'm going to ask a general question, but I would like Dr. Olagunju to react to that question, to respond to that question, while I ask you a general question. And the general question, let me prepare your mind, is if you are to advise the government of the Federal Republic what strategic road they should go now, the route they should go now, what will it be? But you are going to answer that after Dr. Languju has given his own presentation.
The question is for me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me say this type of conference is a timely one. It's a timely one in the sense that we have to be emphatic on this fact that all over the world, the concept of local government or grassroots administration is a global phenomenon, although the nomenclature might vary from one country to the other. But every serious nation must take seriously the role of local government and what happens in the local area. Statistics have said that over 70% of Nigerian population reside in the local area, meaning that no meaningful development will happen without harnessing the potentials in local government. Having said that, I want to advise the government, there is always dichotomy between theory and practice. Yes, we can gather to say a lot of, to have a lot of discussion, communicate, and at the end of the day, if there are no implementation of all these community and plans, it's still not going to achieve the intended aim. In other words, I would advise a kind of selfless leadership from the local government area, because it takes a selfless leader to plan ahead, even when the leader knows that it's not going to benefit. Good development is that development that favors the public ahead of any private interest. In other words, I would advise the government to make it as a matter of priority to have a committed leaders at the local government area. These are those who can really drive the initiations. We have said
committed leaders at the local government. Yes. Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm going to give you one minute now to tell us, if you are to advise the government, what strategic action should focus be on in the next 12 months. Strategic areas that focus should be in the next 12 months. And I'm going to start with Mr. Daniel from my far right.
Okay, within 10 minutes, that's short, but it's fine. Within 10 minutes, the government should focus, first of all, on structuring the local government. The local government chairmen should as well structure themselves from within. You are the one who should set up your governance intelligence unit. It is based on that you can prepare a proposal that goes to Algon, and it's based on what you bring to Algon, the lobby from Algon starts, either to the state or to the federal. So to really shrink the time of execution, like Prof said, we should stop talking, we should start working. And the
Let's stop talking and start working. Thank you so much. Now, Doctor, can we have your insights briefly?
Yes. A strategic focus should be on project monitoring and evaluation. If truly implementation is the problem of our public policy making process in Nigeria, then we must focus all our attention to see that all the plans, all the projects that will be implemented to achieve sustainable development at the grassroots level are followed up through effective monitoring and evaluation.
Follow up through effective monitoring and evaluation. Thank you, Doc. Mr. Sonny Garba.
Yeah, thank you. After taking an inventory of your local government, have an agenda, a clear roadmap, what you want to achieve. And one thing I should draw your attention, you should avoid seeking for solution of security from the public. Security issue is not discussed in the public. So you have a line that already established to the state, to the parliament, and the presidency executives as well. So if you now identify that, you can have a clear projection of where you want to go and where you should see yourself after you have a full inventory of what you have taken over. And anything you state you will now presume that is not handed over to you is your responsibility. You know you're in charge, and the governors will relax that they have handed over to you. So don't stay behind and say this or that, complain. There's no complaint. It's assumed that you know what contains or what is expected of you from that office that you have taken over. So prepare your mind. Get experts if you are not sharp on certain areas. You have been given room to take experts and to partner with people who will give you results. Their name is not going to be there, but your name, and during your tenure is going to be classified that, yes, during your tenure, this is what you have done, or this is the time you have spent without doing anything. So mind you, your name is there, and you have to take the responsibility. Thank you very much.
Take responsibility, engage experts, to not discuss security matters or handle security matters frivolously. Thank you so much. Now, Mrs. Queen, let's have your say.
So talking about taking responsibility, I'd really just say that as a local government chairman, your tenure may be small, but you still remain with the people. Yes. So it's important that you work with the people. So my policy advice simply would be just to create, create a system where you begin to form cooperatives and fund those cooperatives. Most times, those cooperatives are the single, are mostly women, farmers. So it's important that you begin to work with them, create a cooperative, and fund those cooperatives.
Creating cooperatives and funding cooperative. I think is a good way to leave it. Let's put our hands together for our panelists for dealing with the topic very professionally, and we hope for implementation. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. May we please have okay. Question? Room for question? All right. Question, please.
He wants to do questions. Okay, please, can we have the roving mic, please? There's still room for one question. Okay, 2 hands are up. A minute each, please. Thank you. Please kindly help us with it. Thank you very much.
The Prof has a question. Prof? Yes, that's a microphone.
Thank you so much. I'm Professor Ajibade Biodu Michael. I'm an inventor. I represent the Southwestern States Association of Nigerian Inventors. Our past president is there. Just finished having a discussion. And to add more to my very person, I'm the owner of Horizon International University, Ekiti State. I'm a professor of technology, and I believe I've been listening to all that has been happening. You see, everything that has been discussed here is making sense, but at the same time, is theoretical. Yeah. I don't look at myself in the mirror and I just say, I'm so handsome, I don't need to put powder to make myself look good. You see, there is light in the local government, but no one can identify it. Whatever you don't know is your senior brother. In every local government, there is light. And what we need to do is to get those who knows the road and see these lights, put them in place and hold meeting with them to tell us exactly the roadmap where to get that light. The lights, the same way those in the diaspora have it in their various communities, the same way you have more here. Let me cite an example. This Akpo Mechanic Village here. Turbine that will generate light is there. And it's wasting away. The mechanics are throwing it everywhere. They're throwing it away. the bottom part of your SUV is a turbine. The SUV cars that are dying, lying on the ground, is light. You have alternator here. You know, sometimes we need to channel our energy to the direction whereby we have a grip and a control. None of my students is not a superstar. I don't want to disclose what is at the tip of my finger because I don't want to die before my time.
Thank you, Prof.
God bless you.
Prof is the 5th member of my panel. Let's put our hands together for Prof. Any other question, please?
All right, that will be all for now. Okay. In the absence of any more questions, thank you very much to our amazing panelist and moderator. Thank you so much. Please, once again, let's put our hands together for them. Photographers, please kindly come forward for a group photograph. Thank you, thank you, thank you once again for that impactful and interesting session. I think we're making progress. Just like we rightly mentioned earlier, time is of the essence. We understand that a lot of people need to be somewhere at this time. Viola woman in the mist, beautiful. Oh yes. So they have to put you in the middle. Exactly. Thank you. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to the next agenda here, and it's presentation on security and community safety by General Timothy Olugboyega Olowomeye, retired. Please. Yes, if we have the General here with us, kindly come forward for the presentation on security and community safety. Please, let's put our hands together to welcome on stage General Timothy Olugboyega Olowomeye. There he is. Oh yes, please, can we all put our hands together if your hands are not so busy at this moment? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Please, okay, maybe I will just use my laptop direct. No, he's bringing it. My voice. 5 minutes? Okay, let me see how it goes. The flash.
Your Excellency, distinguished gentlemen and ladies, we are gradually coming to the end of this program. This particular section, this particular talk is just for 5 minutes. And this 5 minutes will see us to the very last but not the least of the program before we would bid ourselves a final farewell. Thank you.
But from the way it is, like, go down, I will give so many things out. Let me check from here. Thank you. Excuse me. There won't be any problem. I will try my best to finish with it. I've been able to see it now. Okay. Good afternoon, esteemed guests, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me stand on the existing protocol and permit me to thank the organizers of this event, which is Algon and Aspita. They have invited me to come and share my thoughts. In fact, what have just happened this afternoon, I think I'm in a double jeopardy, if I'm allowed to use that word. I prepared for 20 minutes lecture, but I've been asked to deliver it in 5 minutes. And the second one, when you want to do a lecture in the afternoon, you must show in fact, you must be ready to carry people along and make your lecture very interesting. So I've been thinking, how am I going to do it? But whichever way I do it, I know I will deliver something, but I will deliver a quality thing for you people to take home. I am Brigadier General Tio Olowomeye, and by way of introduction, I've been asked to talk on security, protection, community safety, and good governance at the grassroots level. I make bold to say that all of us here are very much aware of that security and well-being of our citizens are fundamental to the progress and prosperity of our nation. Therefore, it's a critical aspect of national development which must be taken seriously. We have done so much today, talking things, but if there is no security, all those things that we have discussed cannot be put into fruition. That brings me to the aim of this lecture, which is to discuss good governance at the grassroots level as a panacea for effective security and community safety. I intended covering some conceptual definitions to make us to be able to comprehend whatever we are going to discuss. But I'm going to leave that out now. We are supposed to identify the key stakeholders at the grassroots level. Already, I will assume that we know that. A discussion too is supposed to come up on good grassroots governance. We are going to leave that out because everybody knows that whatever that is going to, at that level, if you don't have good governance, you're as good as not having a good foundation, because according to lawyers, you cannot place something on nothing. Grassroots is always the strongest. Then I will just go straight to overview of the current state of security in Nigeria. After which, we are going to look at the challenges and opportunities of grassroots development initiative as regards security. Then finally, I will suggest strategies for good governance and security for sustainable grassroots development. Now let me move forward to okay. Let's start with the overview of the current situation in Nigeria. We have numerous challenges, which includes armed attack, illegal bunkering, banditry, kidnapping, violent secessionist agitations, gang and God war, at the same time, Farmers and Herders Council. No, it's the other man I'm talking about. Yeah. Next slide, please. Our 6 geopolitical zones, they are bedeviled with security issues. No doubt about that. Next. These threats have, over the time, led to loss of lives, displacement, resultant economic and development problems. The situation has further been exacerbated by corruption, inefficiency, and moral issues within the security sector. The resultant effect of is large-scale unemployment, idleness, thus making large number of able-bodied youths readily available for recruitment and indoctrination into radicalization and all types of forms of crimes. The government at all levels, you are aware that they've been trying over the time to ensure that we put in place measures to resolve all these problems. Both kinetic and non-kinetic measures are being taken. But however, the challenges of these efforts remains, the effectiveness of these efforts remains a challenge. Now we take a look at those initiatives that have been taken at the local level to resolve security issues. Now we go to the social welfare initiatives. We are going to look at the social welfare initiatives, community safety initiatives, community defense initiatives, and grassroots engagement. Let's just take a look at the very components of these initiatives. For instance, the social welfare initiatives aim to promote the well-being and quality of life for individuals and community. This initiative includes poverty reduction program by way of financial assistance and empowerment, which politicians do all over the whole place by providing equipment and co. Healthcare, education, social protection. And all in all of this, we have access to quality education, provision of accessible and affordable medical services, implementation of social protection such as cash and food assistance, and the ability of the local government to be able to support the community development programs. For community safety initiative, it is a partnership approach to reduce crime and disorder in the local communities. And this initiative includes community policing initiative. We are all aware of the community policing initiatives. Neighborhood watch, a lot of grassroots administrations, they have established those ones. And putting in place conflict resolution mechanisms. And in addition, empowering youth through education, skill acquisition, skill development, and job creation. All these ones will be done in order to reduce radicalization. Community defense initiative. This initiative aims to promote safety, security for community members, and it fosters social cohesion and community members together to protect their community. The challenges of this particular initiative is power dynamics, that is government go, government come. I recruited this, it's not you that recruited it, so when you come in, you drop them, you get another one. All this can result into vigilantism. Then the grassroots engagement. This is basically the in thing with those security. Somebody said we should not discuss security issues in the public. Yes, but there are certain things that the masses could let you know, so that it will be an input when you are providing, when you are adding things up to defend, in the various security councils at all levels. And the way you do this is just two basic things. You either do village square meetings and town hall meetings. Those town hall meetings are very important and minutes will be taken. A lot of the locals, if they are properly looked at, if you really consult them, they will tell you the whole solution to the problems. And when you get these solutions, you will be in a better position to be able to advise government or to advise yourself on how to go about the security problems. Now, let us look at the challenges and opportunities in community safety engagement in grassroots development initiatives. Here, we have problems of limited resources. Everybody knows that funding is always the first thing. But we are always looking at the fact that do we really need to start waiting for the almighty federal allocation? So it is a problem. But when we get to the solutions, we are going to look at how local governments will be able to realize, to be able to raise funds for all this. Then corruption is one of a major problem. One thing is for a program to be very laudable. And when it comes to implementation, the kind of people you select to be in that committee may not be the best in the best interest of the government. At the end of the day, you find out that you will not achieve what you want to achieve. Then we have the community engagement thing, which could be, yes, the community engagement and participation thing is always success to this initiative, but it's very challenging. We said it's easy to say village square meeting or town hall meetings. Very easy to say. But how do you go about it? How do you get sincere advice? Those are the challenges that goes with it. Then another issue too is the grassroots development initiative is the partnership between government and civil society and private sector could provide opportunity for collaboration and resource mobilization. Yes. Now, the next one. This is the meat of the lecture, which I intend finishing within the next 3 minutes. What are the suggested strategies for good governance and security for sustainable grassroots development? The first is the entire developmental process, from conception to the execution, even as it goes, must be institutionalized. We talked of sustainability, and somebody mentioned the fact that government come, government go. Yes, a government will come with its own policy, another will come. How do we resolve it? The only way we resolve it is by institutionalizing those security policies. And what can we do? An agency of government, you could set up an agency of government to be in charge of that security, the sustainability of that security. For instance, you may have things like a Department of Security Affairs. That one will take charge of it. Or you have an existing institution within the local government who will be given that, will be given the authority to handle those things. And how do they handle it? You do it by way of formulating policies, either by the act of the local government, council, or from the state government act, or the federal act of the National Assembly. They should be stated. It should be stated there that so policy is taking place at this place, and this is what it is. It will take a long time for you to come in and revert, except maybe mushroom assemblies who are just waiting for you to direct them on what to do. But if you have to follow the due process, somebody will not just come in and change those policies. And that is what we said, formulation of policies and legal framework by either having enabling act or legislation of the National Assembly, State Assembly, or Council legislature. And this may include maybe things like standing orders, work ethics, organization, and early warning procedures. Next. Now, we talked of looking for alternative funding instead of the almighty monthly federal allocation. We just have to carry our faith from that, because already there's a lot, even with the autonomy of the local government, we have a lot of problems with it. But the local government, in its wisdom, could have a local government security and intelligence trust fund, and it could be overseen by a board of governors of, we have the bureaucracy, maybe the head of the council is the security, is in charge of the security of the local government. He will be the head. And others, like I said, the bureaucracy, we have the other group, representative of security councils and co, who will be on that board. And they must show accountability, whatever it is, because each local government has its own peculiar problems. If it is aircraft, helicopters you think you can afford, when you raise such money, the board of governors will decide on what to do. A lot of things have been done elsewhere. Then we have donations and gifts from well-to-do individuals and corporate bodies. We have, you could do appeal fund for security. Quite a number of people, the local governments have been doing that, but I think it is very necessary to look at that. Then unclaimed funds. There are so many funds that are unclaimed on that level. I'm not an accountant, but really, I know there are certain things that over the time, maybe it has been allocated to this, but time, has taken over the whole thing. You harness all this and push it with the support of the local government legislators. Then the internally generated revenue. In those days, the local government, the local councils, as they call it then, had a lot of funds. Even though over the time, because of variations here and there, these powers were actually taken away from the local government. But they can come back. And in fact, the first indication is the way the federal government have been able to, the Supreme Court judgment, which means more money will be available to do things. And once you secure the local government environment, you are good to go. Next. We have the strengthening of the roles of the traditional institutions at the grassroots administration. I was just discussing with a friend there who said in those days, if you move from one country, from one locality to another, it is documented. The traditional rulers knows that you are there. And definitely, they will call your attention to the fact that, who is this person? What has he come to do in the society? So there's a need to strengthen the traditional institutions to be able to carry out such things. Then inclusiveness. We discussed the issue of village meetings and town hall meetings. They need to be very regular. If they are regular, you have information in your hands, and you will be able to do a lot of things. Then policy making. When you want to do anything at the local government, it should be holistic and painstaking. If it is holistic and painstaking, you will achieve what you want. Then we have context-specific solutions to problems, considering the unique challenges of the local government. Like we said, all over the country, all the cities, they have peculiar security challenges here and there. But you should be able to sit down and ensure that these things are properly harnessed. Well, I talked about the use of local security operatives, those ones that you can blend with the society. For instance, when I was serving in a particular state during the Boko Haram problems, we were having it difficult to get information from the public. Everywhere we go, they will tell you this, but when you leave, they talk back about you. We had to introduce some elements of people from outside and the natives too. In fact, because of the long stay of those people in those communities, some of them even got married in that community. As soon as they settled down, they started giving us information. that ordinarily, you will not get. In some places, some of the citizens there, crime is, it's a corporate, it's a community job. If this person is able to kidnap 5 to 6 people, they are going to send it into the community purse. It is true, we have seen it. And the only way we could get to know those things was when we started putting people into those places, and they started giving those information. And it's very, very important. Like I said, once there's accountability and transparency, the local government operation will boost confidence in the system. I think all the other ones are things that maybe will come up later. I will have them. I will leave my electronic copy for people to look at. But the hurriedness with which it's okay. Anyway, having said that, I think I've spent my 5 minutes. Well, in conclusion, security, protection, and good governance at grassroots levels are critical to the process and prosperity of our nation. We must all work together to address the security challenges facing them so that we can achieve developmental and lofty goals. By so doing, we can build a safer, more prosperous, and more equitable society for all Nigerians. Thank you very much for listening. So what next? That's all? Okay. Thank you very much. Who should stop? Sorry. You know, ambush is a tactics. When you ambush the enemy, you destabilize him. These people succeeded in destabilizing themselves, not me. Yes. Okay, it's accepted. Yes. I think the time we are waiting is equally will have been used for something else. But it's okay.
Thank you once more. My name's Inventor Lawrence Nzenago, National President Emeritus Association of Nigerian Inventors. And you see, in regards to security, you know, when I talked about security before, I was referring to innovations of Latifa, which I know that needs security. I'm happy you're bringing this. As a technocrat, I see you. We are well traveled. Issues of security, there's a platform I belong to, which has to do with Anambra State, and everybody is talking security. Insecurity in Nigeria, to me as an inventor, is the smallest challenge that is facing Nigeria. Everybody will be shocked that I'm coming this way. We think beyond how others think. We don't see the way others see. If you come to the United States, they have suburbs worse than us. When you cut one single tree, the forestry knows. One single tree you touch in America, they know. Even some trees have cameras mounted on them. Now, I train certain words in the platform, you know, like train a challenge to the governor of Anambra, that insecurity they are talking about, who are they? Suburbs, community area zoning on securities. In Israel, everybody is a security agent. Every human being there, I'm telling you this, from 6 years old. There's nothing wrong with us being the same way in Nigeria. Security is a general thing. Is the government, the police, they are human beings with families. They are not spirits. They work on informations. So it's a thing that we have to increase our advocacy. Nigeria used to be the most enjoyable city in the whole world. When you want to travel abroad, then they stamp you something on your palm at the airport. But today, they are looking at you with a long binoculars. Now, what we need to do now, when you're talking of security challenges, we have inventors that can create surveillance drones, which are rampant everywhere now. But what I am saying now, we have to strengthen our forestry. We have to arm them. When your forest is secured, I double dare any spirit to come from there. They are the people that really need security. They are human beings. We need to strengthen the guards of our farms. Look at what is happening. A nation that, what Trump is doing now, I call it Operation Trump Storm, is good for Africa. It's the best thing that is happening to the world now. For us to look inwards, look at ourselves. Thank you.
Please, 2 minutes and just one question more, please.
The question I keep asking is, the functionality of our borders, is it ghost we kept there or human being? That's number one. I was talking to Professor Mbachu of Nigerian Defense Academy, because I'm a member of the ALAT, Nigeria. And I said, every loop and cranny of the border in Nigeria, I said, the people we kept there, are they ghosts? Because something happened in Ekiti State. And how that man got to the farm of that gentleman till tomorrow is unknown. And if that man inside the farm has not been somebody who is very, very strong, I'm not spiritually, I'm not talking about physically. The man is, yes, says this physical is in his farm, and then somebody came from behind and then put a gun on his head. Along the line, the man answered, that thing you put there, I said remove it. He said, because it's not going to work. He said, if you still have cutlass and other things, you can lift it up. He said, okay, you remove it, and then the hand stood like that. That is how terrible my people are, because you can't just kill them like chicken. Yes. You can't just kill us like that, like a chicken in Ekiti State. Therefore, I just want Nigeria to wake up to reality. Our ancient concept of addressing security should be employed. We should use it for something good, not for something bad. If men and women can no longer go to the farm, then how do you want food to be? A hungry man can do anything. And that is why food is very expensive in the market. If we want the diaspora to come to our aid, we personally, internally must come to our personal aid by ourselves. In fact, I thought this one that we are going to go and invite the diaspora to come and assist us in security, come and do all this. I see that a total waste of time because, number one, let me tell you, all we need to do is simple. And I've said it over and over, and I'll continue to say it. If your house is good, you don't need to invite me to come there. I will be the one begging to come to your house. Are you getting me? Let them return our lost diaspora brothers. Create a conducive atmosphere in Nigeria and return our lost diaspora brothers. Both inventors, both security, including all the technocrats that are in their various universities. Return them back to base. Return Nigerians from Harvard University today. Return them back to Nigeria. Harvard will fall Yakata. I don't bite my word. I say it exactly as it is, point blank. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Prof.
Let me just give a 1 minute answer to those two, or I will contribute to what they are, because what they
They are not questions, they are just suggestions.
Yes, please let me have. I won't waste more time. Okay, this one is working. Thank you very much, sir, for your contribution. We are talking of security. Security is very important. Security is this, is that. Is there any reason why we should give 5 minutes to security in this kind of conference? Where are we running to? So, I am just saying it. We have to go back and address the problem. We really have to go back and address these problems. If it's to start, because we know that it is very vital for us to have security, then as much as possible, we should give it prominence. We should give it discussion, a very serious thought. And we are saying whether some people are spirits or not. The issue is, what is the percentage of security officers to the population? We should just carry a comparison with what we have in the United States and Nigeria. Nigeria is so. How many people do we have? How many security officers do we have? In the United States, let us work out the percentage. Then we will get a true picture. And we should not grumble when they say defense is to have the majority, we should have the funds. Yes, in the budget should be number one. The day we realize that security takes precedence over every other thing, our problem is solved. I leave you with that. Thank you very much for listening, sir.
Security in Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir. General Timothy Olugboyega Olowome, retired. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to welcome on stage Mr. Richardson Ojeka for a presentation on localizing the SDGs for national development. Please, can we put our hands together for Mr. Richardson Ojeka as he comes on stage for his presentation? He's not here. Oh, there he is. Thank you very much. Please, can we give him a louder applause, please? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Because of our time, I'm going to stand on the existing protocol. And my topic is localizing the SDGs for national development. And this is very timely and very topical, if I must say, because Africa is a blessed land. We have beautiful people, abundant resources, massive land, and great opportunities. But like Ali Mazrui said, Africa consumes what it does not produce and produces what it does not consume. The SDGs are great. I'm not going to belabor you with the history of the SDGs, but they are fantastic, brilliant set of goals. But the problem with Africa is that we never, ever localize. Our problem in this part of the world is that we don't localize the goals. We don't localize the global goals. The biggest problem with Africa today is not the problem of leadership, nor healthcare, nor infrastructure. The biggest problem that we face today is that we don't know ourselves. It's a problem of identity, schizophrenia. We focus on the things that are not for us. In as much as we have the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, it's also important for us to note that there's something called the African Union Agenda 2063, which is a document, a set of goals that was created specifically for Africa. But the question is that if you ask a young man on the street today, are you aware of the AU Agenda 2063? They don't know. But they know every single thing about the SDGs. If you go to the schools that we have today and ask them, what is the African Continental Free Trade Agreement? They have no idea, but they know everything about the SDGs because Ali Masri was right that we as Nigerians, we always, and Africans basically, we always consume the things that we do not produce and produce the things that we don't consume. We are not consuming the things that are important to us, that are local to us. And how do we localize the SDGs? It is important that the SDGs are localized. Every policy is localized. Why do we have the problems that we have today? Because they're not localized. Democracy is not localized. We copy it hook, line, and sinker. We have schools that graduate students of engineering, but when it's time to construct the road, it is Julius Berger. We have hospitals that we commission every time, but when it is time for us to go to the hospital, we're flying abroad. And we're graduating doctors. We copy things hook, line, and sinker and never localize. Look at our philosophy, general philosophy in Africa. It's called Ubuntu. Ubuntu means I am because you are. Whatever I become, it is because you are also great. If I am great today, it's because you are great. And I'm going to look at some things that we do. Look at the apprenticeship system. The fact that every single thing about Africa is based and centered on trust. That I trust you enough to do that. The barter trading was centered on trust. Africans are trustworthy people. Apprenticeship system, which is in the East, says that I will come and donate 6 years of my life to you and learn your trade, learn everything, trusting that at the end of the 6 years, you will set me up. And that worked. It worked 100%. Look at our market structure. We don't have a central market in Africa. We have different markets in different communities. So today you have a market day in this community. Tomorrow you have a market day in the next community. Next tomorrow you have a market day in this community. Why? Because of our philosophy. And we're talking about localization. Our philosophy says that every time you have trade in any place, there's development. You will go there, you will sleep in their hotels, you buy their food, you marry their women, you marry their wives. They are growing. The next town is growing. Everybody is developing and growing at the same time. The farming system is also like that in Africa. Women will come and say, okay, today we're coming to your farm. We'll farm, do everything. Next tomorrow we're coming to your farm. We'll farm. And all the farmers are growing and developing at the same time. So if we must localize, we must go back to our roots. Who are we at the very core? We are people that are very trustworthy. That is why some words can never be found in our local dialect. And if you think it's a joke, please answer me. How do you call embezzlement in your tribe? There's no word for that. How do you call marginalization? We don't have a word for all these things because we don't have them. They are compound words. Or mismanagement. These are words that only came to us after the colonial era. So, no poverty. How do we localize that? We have something called local banking. Poverty is because you don't have the resources to buy things. Thank you very much. I just noticed that you gave me more than 5 minutes. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Poverty is as a result of no resources to purchase things. Right. But we have ajo. Ajo is such that somebody takes a resource, give it to someone, trusting that he will not spend it. Everybody is giving to each other and sharing it at the same time. So when I need 1 million naira, I have 1 million. When this guy needs 1 million naira here, he has 1 million. When they have 1 million naira, they need. Every single person is growing at the same time. We must go back to our local banking system, and we must support it. The next is no hunger. If we can go back to our communal farming system that says that every single person, every single farm must grow at the same time. We share labor, share resources, and we are all growing at the same time. This is the communal living that has kept us. Every other thing that we have today is as a result of the incoming of the colonial masters. We must go back to our roots. Our good health and well-being, which is the SDGs goal 3. You and I know that if you have pile, the fastest way to solve pile is not to go to the hospital. If you go to the hospital, the doctor will give you mixture. You use scissors to slice your bum. But we have our local mixture. If you drink that mixture, in less than 1 week, 2 weeks, pile is gone. We must continuously strengthen those systems. Malaria, we have our own herbs for it. Why are we not doing research to say, what can we do to make this medicine work better? We must go back to our traditional system. Quality education. Our children today don't even know how to speak our languages. Is education just to read and write, or we must also teach our people what culture is, who our people are? We must also promote our culture and history. As I conclude with you, I'm concluding with a story. This is a story written by a man called James Eman Kweje Agri. And the story says, Eagles Will Fly. And this is talking about a man who went to the farm and caught a bird. And he brought the bird back to his farm, to his house. And he mixed the bird with his chickens. And that bird began to behave like chickens. When his friends came to the house, he saw it and he said, no, this is not a bird. This is not a chicken, this is a different bird. And he said, yes, I caught it in the bush as an eagle. I fed it on chicken feed. It is now a chicken. The friend said, no. Once an eagle, always an eagle. He took the bird and threw it to the sky, but the bird didn't fly. I'm concluding. The next day, he came again, took the bird, looked at it in the sky, threw it up, but the bird didn't fly. And he told him, I told you, it was once an eagle. It is now fed on chicken feed. It is now a chicken. The guy said, no. Once an eagle, always an eagle. He came back the third day, took the bird up, pointed it to the sky. And as the eagle began to see other animals that were in his sky, other big animals are flying, the eagle flapped its wings, flapped it, continuously flapping it. And when he flew and never came back. And the guy told him, I told you, once an eagle, always an eagle. That is the story of an Africa. That one day, we are going to realize our full potentials, and we're going to be the eagle and fly high like we are supposed to be. Thank you very much.
I will personally come to him for tutorials. May we put a round of applause for him? That was a presentation on localizing SDGs for national development by Mr. Richardson Ojeka. That has been a very wonderful one. That could have even come first before the last. But we have saved the best for the last. Thank you very much. They say every good thing that has a beginning will also have an end. But we will not end until we listen to a vote of thanks by the Acting Director General of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria in the person of Barrister Mrs. Evan Enekwe. Please, a round of applause as she comes for beautiful vote of thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you all for your patience. I know everybody is waiting to just find their way out of this place. I will not waste your time. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being patient and staying till the end of the program. And I hope we have learned a lot, and that when we get back, we'll begin to practice some of the things we have learned here. I wish you safe journey. On behalf of Algon and the convener of this conference, I wish you safe journey to your various destinations. Thank you very much.
Please, we have finally come to an end with that beautiful vote of thanks from the Acting Director General, Association of Local Governments of Nigeria. On behalf of my colleague, Zulihat Bello Gobe, we like to thank you very immensely for being here present. Also not forgetting my very good friend Bayo, the cameraman, the media crew, and to a large extent, the organizers of this particular program, Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, Algon, alongside CPAT's Global Resources. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mr. President, we have already had our our national anthem, we'd like to inform us that we'd like to wish all of us a safe trip back to our various destinations. Thank you, and God bless you all. Just before we go, please, the communique will be issued at the end of this particular program. It is expected, but we do that electronically. We already have your emails and your phone numbers and your names. Please, the communique will be issued. Wherever we were not able to reach you, we will do that in the media space. Social media, print, electronic, as well as other platforms. Thank you, and God bless you all.